Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of philosophy, and we are discussing regarding the Kant's philosophy. In last lecture, we have discussed the idiosyncrasies from Kant's point of view and his view regarding the idiosyncrasy and how it helps and what caution one should take when dealing with idiosyncratic peoples. All those things which are very nicely narrated by the J.T. Kant over there. Today, we're going to learn chapter number 30. And this is related with the one of the important thing which we used to follow in homeopathy, and that is what is called as an individualization. And here Kent writes his own views regarding it. And he starts chapter with by taking the reference of the aphorisms, that is 118, 119, and so. So we'll start directly with the chapter number 30 from Kant's philosophy, and that is chapter's name is individualization. Aphorism 118, etc. Comparison, individualization, and difference in the nature of things most similar are points that must be carefully considered. The substitution of one remedy for another cannot be thought of in or entertained in homeopathy. So there are no substitutes. It is not like that if you don't have a specific painkiller, you can give another painkiller. This is not the thing which happens in homeopathy. Here, whatever we used to prescribe or we used to give is definitely based upon the individualization. If the patient's remedy is aconite, you have to give aconite. You cannot substitute it for the belladonna. So, substitution is not possible. The homeopathic physician must individualize. He must discriminate. Discriminate means, this is the very specific word. One must understand the difference between two or more things is discrimination. Bheda bhed janne. In Marathi, we call it Bheda bhed janne. So, differentiate between two or more things. He must individualize things widely dissimilar in one way and yet similar in other ways. So, there are certain remedies which look similar, but they are absolutely different at certain level. And that difference which we have to catch for. And he gives one very good example to explain. Take for instance the two remedies, sickle and arsenicum. They are both chilly. But the patient wants all the covers off and wants the cold air in sickle, and he wants all things hot in arsenicum. So both are chilly. But one first chilly remedy, that is the sickle core, always wants to take the covers out, never wants covering. Arsenic is exactly opposite. Arsenic requires a lot of hot covering. Here the modalities differs. Even though the basic thing looks similar, it differs. The two remedies are separate at once. They are wholly dissimilar as to general state, whilst wholly similar as to the particulars. A mere bookworm symptom hunter would see no difference between sickle and arsenic. And he explains over there that those persons who are not going into the study in depth about the homeopathy, who looks toward the homeopathy as a casual, they looks that both remedies are very similar. But the similarity lies only at a particular level. Similarity never lies at all levels. And that's what we have to understand. So, mere bookworm symptom hunter would see no difference between sickle and arsenicum. You go to the bedside of a case of peritonitis and you will find the abdomen distended, the patient is restless. You will find him often vomiting blood and passing blood from the anus. You will find horrible burning with distended abdomen, unquenchable thirst, dry red tongue, lightning like pulse. Well, arsenicum and sickle have all these things equally. They both have these things in high degree. But when sickle is indicated, he wants all coverings off, wants to be cold, wants cold application, wants the windows open, cannot tolerate heat, and the warm room makes him worse. If If the arsenicum is indicated, in such a case, he wants to be wrapped up warmly, even in a month of July, wants hot food and hot drinks. The whole Mathematical is full of these things and is based upon this kind of individualization. So here he differentiates that how to differentiate between two remedies. One is absolutely chilly, one is another chilly but wants covering, another wants completely uncovering. So things differentiate at specific level, at the modalities level, and there you can differentiate one remedy from another remedy, even though their diagnosis is very close to each other. So your treatment never depends upon what is the diagnosis or what are the symptoms, but how that symptoms takes the individuality. That's what you have to look for. Without the generals of a case, no man can practice homeopathy. Underline this sentence. This is too important sentence made by Kent. You must have a generals because generals are related to the person as a whole. General symptoms are the symptoms which are related to the person as a whole and denoted by the prefix I. That's what general symptoms. And if unless and until you get the generals in your case, you cannot practice homeopathy. This is what Kent says. Why? Because they are individualizing features. For without these, no man can individualize and see distinction. After gathering all the particulars, one strong general rules out one remedy and rules in another. So you get 10 particulars, but if they are not strongly characteristic, but if one specific general is there and which is so characteristic, you can easily individualize the case. Physicians, by the question they ask, often show that they have not been able to grasp this idea of individualization. They pick out two symptoms or one symptom common to two remedies and say, now both of these remedies have this same symptom. How are you going to tell them apart? Well, if you are acquainted with Materia Medica, with the art of individualization, you will at once easily see how to get the generals. The generals of one are so and the generals of the other are so and so, and this will enable you to distinguish one of these remedies at best adapted to the constitution. When the two remedies have the one symptoms in any equal degree, now this rules out the idea of substitution. If one does not work, they say, try all down the list alphabetically until you hate it. So he has given very typical comment on it. There are many people who never, they are casual in their work and they never look toward the things so sincerely. And these peoples, what do they do? If they are not able to individualize, what they starts with A and ends with Z and they gives the gunshot therapy, one might hit. This is what he has explained. So this is the thing which he wants to explain over there, that unless and until you have good generals in your case, you cannot differentiate two remedies, even though they looks very close to each other at particular level. Why a remedy that has never been known to produce that symptom may cure the case? Because it is more similar to the generals of that case than any other. So that is one more thing which he has mentioned, and this is truth. Sometimes you get remedy, the patient is asking, patient is coughing and tremendous, and he's shrieking, he's crying, he's weeping, and that weeping, you get irritated because of it, and that child wants to take carried. All things are there. So typically, if that type of cough is not mentioned even in chamomilla, but you know this is chamomilla child because generals are indicated chamomilla, give the chamomilla. And you give the chamomilla and cough vanishes. Because particulars, even though whether they are there or not there in the particulars of the materia medica, they will disappear under the action of remedy because generals match. And generals are very important to individualize. This is the art of applying the materia medica. Many times, a patient brings out that which is so strange and rare that it has never been found in any remedy. You have to examine the whole case and see which remedy of all the remedies is most similar to the patient himself. From beginning to end, the homeopath must study the patient. If he becomes conversant with the symptoms apart from the patient, he will not be successful. So this is the thing which you have to do. This is the hard work one has to do. One has to go and read the Mathematica with practical approach. We have to find it out what is exactly the characteristic which lies over there or which is hidden over there in that remedy, the core of the remedy, essence of the remedy. Then it is possible to differentiate the remedies. Otherwise, everything looks similar. And that is the problem of homeopathic students. When they start reading Mathematica, they find that there is very much similarity in each and every remedy. How to differentiate? My suggestion is that more concentrate more on keynotes. Keynotes gives you idea of differentiation and then read the Mathematica. Then it becomes rather simple to understand remedy. Paragraph 118 reads, each medicine produces particular effects in the body of man and no other medicinal substance can create any that are precisely similar. This is the beginning of doctrine showing that there can be no substitution. There are cases that are so mixed that man, no matter how much he study, cannot see the distinctions. But remember one thing, there is one remedy that is needed to the case, whether it is known or not. It is needed in the case and it has no substitute. For that remedy differs from all other medicine, just as this individual differs from all other individuals. So he is giving you example why Hahnemann says that of individualization. Because one remedy has, if you prove, it has very typical presentation. If you prove another, it has a different presentation. Third remedy has a different presentation. Every remedy, to every remedy, the patient or prover reacts in a different manner. And if it is so, you have Mathematica full of characteristic symptoms of each and every remedy. You have to match that remedy with the patient's symptomatology on the basis of law of similarity. So you cannot substitute. If there is a Naxomica patient and you don't have Naxomica, if you are giving Nox moscata, it is not like that because both of them have different symptomatology. It may be that we cannot see that it is needed. It may not appear to be indicated, but it is needed all the same, though the intimation may not have come to the eye or ear of the physician. That shows the necessity of waiting and watching. In homeopathic medicines, in homeopathy, medicines can never replace each other, nor one be as good as another. So there is no question of substitute comes. There is no question that you replace this remedy with this remedy. It's not like that. As we hasten along with this subject, we find in paragraph 122, Hahnemann says, in circumstances of this nature on which depend the certitude of the medical art and the welfare of the future generation, it is necessary to employ only medicines that are well known. So, for that purpose, you must use the remedies that are well known, which are very good proved. Then you can apply. If they are not fully proved, it is rather difficult to apply those remedies. And this is first important thing which has been mentioned by Hahnemann. There are many people who tries remedies which are not fully proved. Many times it fails. Occasionally, by hook or crook, they get the results with one of the patient, but it doesn't mean that that remedy will going to work in each and every case, because that is not well proven. But if we have remedies which are completely thoroughly proved, then we are damn sure that we can apply the law of similars. Then it works. And then he says one more thing. Hahnemann says purity is important. Medicines as they are proved should be kept unmodified and preserved and possessed of their full energy. So purity of medicine, that is another word which he has used. Purity is important because unless and until you get that specific remedy which is proved, you cannot produce same results with the patient. Now it is important that you shall use the same substances as nearly as possible as were proved. Among the potencies that we are using here as high potencies made by Finke and others, we have large number of instances, the very identical substances that were proved by the provers. It is important not to change. A plant bearing the same name as the one proved but grown in different climate or on a different soil should not be used. Procure the one that was proved originally. Finke recognized this when he procured the substances that Herring proved. We have the same lacases that Herring proved. I have a sample of original lacases that I am preserving in a little while, marked with Herring's own name. The medicine should be well known. Its history should be well known, with all its steps and details. The question of potentization should be taken into account. The different hands they have been through. All the little particulars of our high potency should be well known. It should not be careless in this and not gather potencies from Tom, Dick, and Harry. When able to go to the headquarters and get your potency. Again, one more important thing which he has used explained over there in order to explain why certain times we never get the results because we lack the purity of medicines. Even though you have choose very perfect remedy, but it never works because you never get the genuine medicine. My suggestion to all of you is that must should not use the remedies given in open bottle or from open bottle. You should always procure the remedies which are sealed remedies from the companies. And I will suggest keep a belief more on either SBL, either Ashwabe, Hapco, genuine medicines you can get, specifically when related with the potencies and when related with the mother tinctures, you must always give importance to the proper companies who prepares the medicines according to the knowledge of pharmacopoeia or rules of pharmacopoeia. Because if you mm, if you are practicing homeopathy and you want to produce the results, you should be very thorough with your medicines. You should know the purity of your medicine. That's why this is too important to know everyone. And then to conclude the chapter, what he says is very important. Hahnemann writes in paragraph 144, a matramedic of this nature shall be free from all conjecture, fiction, or gratuitous assertion. It shall contain nothing but the language of nature, the results of cheerful and faithful research. Very important point which is mentioned over there. Homeopathic matramedica is never based upon conjecture. Conjecture means thoughts, kalpana. That is not the thing. Whatever is there in homeopathic matramedica, it is the result of um, proving. That proving is done on the healthy human being, and whatever the symptomatology comes out, that has been written, and that's why it is completely a result of research and faithful research. We have formed, built, and established the matramedica by proving it upon healthy and observations that are pure and honestly made. Paragraph 145. We ought certainly to be acquainted with the pure action of vast number of medicines upon healthy body, to be able to find homeopathic remedies against each of innumerable forms of disease, besiege mankind. Besiege means suffers them or which hovers over the human being, घेराव घालणे, which affects the mankind. That is to say, to find out our artificial morbid powers that resemble them. At the present time, it will rarely be found that a fully developed disease has not its simillimum, its remedy or cure in our mater medica. It is only those mixed cases that are not developed that puzzles us. So, this is the common thing which we used to get. If we get a case thoroughly, and if the case is, if you get complete totality, many times you get a remedy from your mater medica which matches that totality if you have taken very thorough case. Occasionally, those cases which are mixed or mixed miasmatic are very chronic, where lot of allopathic bungling has been done. Then the cases becomes rather difficult to solve, and there one you cannot get one simillimum, and then you have to go with the zigzag method of applying partial simile. Otherwise, you can get a very perfect remedy to that specific totality. So individualization is the most important entity which one must follow in homeopathy. Whenever you deal with the patients, you must get a proper totality, match that totality with the remedy's totality and apply that remedy to the patient. And there is only one remedy which matches to that specific patient. So very short chapter, but where he has given very important thing related with the practical aspect of using the homeopathic medicines. So chapter number 30 we have finished. Next time, in tomorrow's lecture, we'll start with the 34th chapter, that is the homeopathic aggravation. So we have finished 3 chapters from the Kant's philosophy for third year. Tomorrow, the next lecture, tomorrow, we'll start with chapter number 34. So thank you. And today evening, we're going to meet with mathematical section and one more remedy from third year syllabus, that is the Theridion. Very important remedy from practical point of view in practice that we're going to start in, that we're going to learn in today's evening session. So thank you being there. We'll meet again at 8:15. Good evening.
Thank you, sir.